Dear people, welcome to this week's episode of Conversations with a Career Doctor, the place where you listen to a career doctor, heal your career ailments, strengthen your career fundamentals, and actually transform into the career doctor for your own career. Today, I have the great pleasure of having with me someone who was actually featured in the book, my book, Conversations with the Career Doctor. I have with me Ms. Sheenam Ohrie, Managing Director, Broadridge India, a fintech company with its global headquarters in New York. Hello, Sheenam, and a very warm welcome to Conversations with the Career Doctor, and looking forward to the conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saundarya. This is an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. And if I can in some way help your community, um, it'll be really something that'll be giving back and very, very satisfying.
Thank you so much, Sheenam. The very fact that you're here and you have taken time out and really sharing this precious moment with us, that itself, I think, speaks a lot about your commitment to the cause of gender inclusion and having more women in the workplace. And what better place to start this conversation than to actually ask you, how does it feel to be in the C suit? How do you do it all? You are a managing director, a very rare species in this country of women professionals who've actually made it to where you are. How does it feel?
It feels very fulfilling. It feels very satisfying. Um, we have close to 5,400 people in the company. And the fact that you have the ability to nurture 5,400 careers, to be able to influence the happiness of 5,400 households and families is, I think, a very big and mammoth responsibility. Leadership is not easy. I always maintain that leadership is a privilege and a choice that we make every day. So, being here, able to do this, is something that I believe is an honor and something that I have to do every day very well.
It's beautifully stated. Thank you for saying that. And there was a wonderful note of humility combined with a certain level of vulnerability, if I can say, in the way you expressed that privilege which we call leadership. And the beautiful thing about what I heard you say is that leadership is not just about the title, it's about an attitude that you bring to work every day. And it doesn't matter if you are, if you're holding a particular placard or you're holding a particular designation. What matters is the fact that you take that ownership and you behave like a true leader does. So I'm going to ask you, did this quality of leadership, where you was it apparent to you even as a young girl? Because I know that you were born in Pune and then you grew up in Thane. You've had a interesting childhood. Born to two perfectionist parents, which is something that you speak about. So I just wanted to check with you: is this something that you feel, you realized early on in life that you do have this orientation towards being a leader?
I think very early in life, I had realized the fact that I get a lot of energy from people, Dr. Sandhya. So when I am with people, I'm a better person myself, right? So I draw on energies from different people and become a better version of myself. So this was something that I realized early. I was always out there making friends, doing things, participating in just more than just academia, right? A lot of my friends used to say that, when do you actually study? We hardly see you study, because I loved to participate in various activities and, to get different kinds of acquire different kinds of talents, whether it was music, it was dance, it was dam charades, it was debates. I love to do it all. I think the essence of leadership started when you actually became a first time manager, and the responsibility of the fact that somewhere you need to not just lead but also guide through your experience came at that time. But the energy for with people, I think it was there from the time I grew up.
Very wonderfully said. And I think you paint that picture so beautifully in terms of the fact that you are a better person when you're around people, and you kind of absorb their energies, which means that learning must have been a very, very easy, fluid thing for you. You learned from people
It is
because,
it is
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it is an
probably the
intrinsic part
core.
of my personality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That intrinsic power of learning, of quickly absorbing what's that energy, of understanding that certain people do things in a different way, and how could you probably adopt that style? I think that's very beautifully said. And when you say that as a child or as a young girl, you did a bunch of things. You tried your hand at everything. I'm certain that you might not have, shined in everything. You might have had your
Absolutely,
fair
absolutely. I'm a
share of.
very bad singer. I'm not a
So,
very good player of music instruments, but
so how
you
did you
try
retain the
everything.
confidence, Sheenam? How did you retain the confidence?
I think the confidence comes from the fact that you have the ability to keep trying. The confidence comes from the fact that uh, um, there is more in the world to do than just this, right? I'm a very average sports person. I can't sing even if my life depended on it. I have learned to play the guitar, but ask me to play one right now, I can't. But there are certain other things that I was really good at when I was, growing up. Uh, I think just understanding and being congruent with who you are is very important as you grow up. And like you said, both my parents have given me that ability to experiment and to be comfortable with failure. Like there was never ever that pressure, oh, you didn't come first in this particular thing, or you didn't. It was always try. There is something in the world that you will be really good at, and you will be there. So growing up, the confidence of that, plus the fact that you're good in some things, and that should be enough. And you learn something new every day.
Wonderful. Um, so, the confidence of being somebody that is accepted for who they are, meaning, so we talked about that quality of learning, of constant
Yeah.
learning, and then the confidence that comes with saying that I will try it all. I may be good at some, I may not be good at the others, but I know that I will be accepted for who I am by this group or by this organization or by this company, whatever it is. Now, that confidence comes from a certain, very clear sense of your identity.
Yeah.
And I think definitely, parents play a big role in shaping that identity, especially of young girls, especially of
Yep.
women, because
Yep.
what young girls and women are taught by their parents, how to assess themselves, how to fit in, how to do certain things in a different way, how to experiment, those are very key
And when
lessons.
not to fit in.
And
And
when
when
not
not
to
to
fit
fit in.
in, yeah, yeah, when to strike
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah.
I think those are lessons that parents really give you. But tell me,
Absolutely.
have you also had your fair share of mentors during your youth, during your girlhood and your teenage years, and when you grew up at college and so on? Did you have mentors or people who kind of role models who shaped you, who told you that this is the way you should be, or this is what you're good at, kind of thing?
Not during college and school, Dr. Sandhya. And not at that time. I was not privileged enough. But yes, after I was like 3 4 years in the work environment, definitely people um, who came out and said, "Hey, you are good at this. Hey, you're not so good at this." And there was investment by some people, and some of them continue to be my mentors even today. During college life, I come from a very all said and done, we come from very conservative background. So really mingling with somebody else was not something that we did. Um, so role models were generally your father or your mother at that point of time.
That's very honest. You would have made your entry into a career, and you chose tech because
Yes.
you have been a woman in tech for a very long time.
Yep.
So
All my life.
all your life. So
Yeah.
has has technology actually kind of shaped the kind of leader that you are? Do you think that you might have been a different person had you been in, say, FMCG, or had you been in banking, or had you been in any of the other industries? Do you think the tech industry kind of shaped you?
So the reason to join the tech industry was my love for maths. I'm I'm a hardcore mathematician even today. I love to solve problems, right? So when I'm free and my own binge time just with myself is doing a puzzle, right? Solving a crossword puzzle, doing a Sudoku, doing a maths problem, doing one of those CAT exam puzzles that even today keep cropping up. So the intrinsic happiness comes from that. So tech was a natural choice from that perspective. I'm not sure. I don't have the experience to say if I was in FMCG, would I be different or not. But I can tell you this much that early in life, this company called Citl, which became iFlex, is now part of the Oracle family. They came to Bangalore to do a road show, and I was part of the 25 that got selected in that road show in my final year of engineering. Um, a startup, 15 people in that company. They acquired 25 of us from the road. We made it 40 people. That experience made me who I am today, right? I owe a lot of who I am, my identity as a professional, my my need to learn, to have a diverse portfolio behind of experiences behind me came from that experience, that those 15 years they molded me.
Wonderful. I think, like you said, your early molding, the early
Yeah.
path into which you get set, I think that kind of stays with you for life. And you know, you constantly go back to it and the lessons that you
Yeah.
learned there. And that kind
Correct.
of, triggers a new decisions that one typically takes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Fabulous. Uh, so, when I heard you describe your love for maths, I was just filled with this reverence because while in India women do comprise a very large part of those that enter into the academic accomplishment space, which means they have finished their tertiary education, they've gone into probably their postgraduate. Many of them also sign up for an MPhil or a PhD. And the funny thing about Indian women is that the more they are accomplished from an academic and educational standpoint, the lesser they are likely to be in the workplace. And this is what research says. So, one of the things that we at Avatar really, we worry about, and we try to do our best to motivate young women in various institutions and so on, is to tell them that the purpose of education is actually to make you become a person that is capable of taking care of themselves, both from a
Financially. Financial. Yeah.
financial standpoint, economic standpoint, decision making capability, the entire thing. So it's not
Absolutely.
it is not for you to say that you have studied all of this, but then if you have to fill out a simple form, and you have to go to the ATM, or you have to do a few things or invest online, you do not know how to do that, and you have to be dependent on somebody else to do it for you. Then such education, like Sri Rajaji says, is useless tinsel. So
Yes.
when I heard you speak about math and the love that you had for that subject, and how that brought you into the world of tech, and now today you're one of the shining examples of women's leadership in tech. The question that comes to my mind, and which I want you to elaborate for our audience, is how does one take this passion for a subject, any subject? Could be math, it could be artificial intelligence, it could be data processing, it could be content writing, it could be digital
Yes.
marketing, anything, HR. How do you
Mm.
take your passion or your liking or your felicity in that particular area, and how do you make a living out of it? How do you do that?
Shiv, I think it's important to figure out where the opportunities are. It's important to find out what is the right career path. Sometimes your education and what your career path actually becomes is very different. So it's very important to find out what gives you that happiness, right? What gives you that satisfaction and allows you to blossom. So that's part number one. Part number two is patience, perseverance, and reticence. Women, like it or not, okay, are childbearers, are caretakers. There are times in our lives when our professional life will need to take a backseat because that's the priority of life. At that point of time, that's what is the most important thing to do. But do you, at that point of time, allow your career to take a backseat or do you end the career? That's a choice that you have to make. And I would encourage everybody to say, let's take that backseat because you have a 40-year career in front of you, right? Your entire career, you start at the age of 22, 23, maybe at the age of 25. Today, the retirement age is 65. Tomorrow is going to change. You're going to have 40 years of career, 2, 3, 5 years of taking a backseat is not going to affect your career in the last stage. But if you allow it to end, then you're taking a very big part of your own happiness away from you. And that is crucial, is crucial for your own self. So be patient, be persistent, and be very, very, very resilient is what I would say to all the women and to the men, but more to the women because we are family. We provide for the family from a caregiving perspective, and you can't take that away from us. You just can't. Does that answer your question, Dr.
Ladies,
Sundar?
all of you who are listening in, I think those were absolutely sage words of wisdom. And coming from a leader, coming from a C suit head honcho, who is telling you to be patient, and it's okay if at a point of time you have to take that back seat as far as your career is concerned, but come back, not just bounce back but bounce forward, and take that decision to do well in your career. You have to listen to Sheenam Ohrie, who
Don't
I
give
had a
up.
conversation with.
Don't give up. Yeah,
Don't give
don't give
up.
up.
That's what she says. Don't give up. And when we talk about patience, when we talk about the virtue of waiting, the virtue of saying that it's okay for it to be a little bit of a backseat, back burner kind of a simmering, and it's not just kind of a blaze and glory and so on. That kind of goes against the grain of what today is seen as leadership, what today is seen as success, where you have to constantly be out there making news, creating a wave. Somebody posts about you, or you are posting about somebody, and there is that need for a momentum to constantly do something, be something. How do women, especially today's women, in this world that they live in, how can they do this thing of taking that back seat, Sheenam? How do they do it? What is your advice?
So first of all, Dr. Sandhya, is being in the limelight, is being there in the social media really necessary? I think the generation of today puts extraordinary pressure on themselves by that need to be there all the time, by that need to be visible all the time. That is not leadership. It is really succumbing to a very strong wave of peer pressure or wave of what the economy uh, is Mark Zuckerberg, for example, in limelight every day? No, he isn't. But he still owns Meta, a very, very successful company that is doing a lot of work from an innovation perspective. I think it's important for you to be happy. It's important that you know what choices you've made and that those choices are the right thing at that moment. And if that is the right choice, make it. There will be time for limelight. There will be time that, all of those things will happen. Sometimes the best thing for us to do is actually go away from limelight, reflect. One of the things that I tell all my leaders, something that I do very, very carefully and in a planned manner, is once a quarter, I shut off everything for 4, 5 hours. And I ask myself, am I doing what I set out to do? Am I meeting my own goals? Am I meeting my own aspirations? Right? So on a Saturday afternoon, everything is off, the TV is off, the phone is off, the laptop is off, the iPad is off, and there's just me and my paper and pen, writing down, what I set out to achieve and doing deep introspection to see whether I have done that or not. And that when you figure out that yes, you've done it, yes, there is ways to go, and you know how to do it, or yes, these are the 4 people that you should talk to figure that out. That by itself is so gratifying that posting on an Insta or a Facebook or a LinkedIn is never going to provide you. So my request to everybody, even today, is try and find your congruence with yourself. And if that congruence works, you will be happy and you will be a good leader.
Fabulous. I think this is just so beautiful. This habit of that self audit, of
Hmm.
checking in and looking at your goals once every quarter. This is just really gorgeous. And ladies, I hope you're making a note of this at whatever stage of your career you are. I think it's important for you to do that self audit, that check in, and figure out if you're actually on track. If what you set out to do, are you anywhere there on that road, or have you got distracted? Have you been pulled into
Correct.
something like
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And Sheenam, when you spoke about peer pressure and doing something because somebody else is doing it, I think that's really hitting the nail on the head. I'm going to ask you, um, how do women deal with career challenges, with failure? Do you think that women take failure too much to heart as compared to, say, men? Or uh, for instance, how have you dealt with failures? How have you dealt with career setbacks?
Good question. And I think if anybody tells you that they have not had a failure or a setback in their career, they're lying. My career spans over 3 decades, and I think I can easily count 4 to 5 setbacks in my career. Sometimes it's because of internal organizational dynamics. Sometimes it's just because I made a very bad choice, right? Now, if you made a bad choice, it depends on how early you recognize that you've made a bad choice and you walk out of that choice. And I've done that. I walked in, realized in 3 weeks that this is not what I want and this is not where I can be happy, and said, sorry, I made a wrong choice, got back to the organization and said, I want to exit out. So decide then and there, as early as possible, that you want to make a U turn and come back. Sometimes you make wrong career choices within the company, right? And you choose a role and that role doesn't work out. It happened to me at SAP. That's when I left SAP to join Infosys. I tried to get back into tech for 7, 8 months, didn't happen. Decided, okay, SAP is a great company to be in, but not at the cost of not the right role. Left, joined Infosys, It was probably the best thing that ever happened to me because I did a P&L role at Infosys and a new learning, something really, really good. There are times when you will have organizational dynamics. Organizational dynamics can be small, can be large. You have to understand what those organizational dynamics look like. Most times, if you tell the person one on one that what happened was not right, put the elephant right on the table and say, hey, listen, you did something. I didn't like it. This is what you made me feel. Was that the intent? Generally, people don't want to be bad. Okay. Just putting that elephant there means that the other person is very conscious. And if there is some subconscious bias, it'll get removed. Right. There are times when the organizational politics and dynamics can be really deep. Figure out how to get around it. And the best thing to do at that point is go to your mentor, really sounding it off, having somebody to talk to, and do that dialogue, that debating, that whiteboarding is going to help you. So go to a mentor that you trust and talk to him or her and get that sorted out. That is what I would say.
Would one's spouse be such a mentor, Shinam? What do you think?
It absolutely, absolutely. Spouses know you the best. They know your shortcomings. They know what you're good at. They know how you react, right, to emotional disturbances. So spouses are really good soundboards. Even today, when I'm in a situation or I have to do something that is very, very important to me, I go back to my spouse and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is the audience, tell me whether I'm doing the right thing or not." Right. So that's really something that you should think about all the time. If
Great.
you're married, your partner, your friend, somebody.
Yeah, yeah. I think you resonate very strongly with Sheryl Sandberg's quote of the best career decision that one can take is one's choice of a spouse, for a woman.
Absolutely. I always say marry right.
Yeah, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
fabulous. So I just wanted to, pivot this conversation into the one of the burning topics that's there today, which is artificial intelligence, and what typically is going to happen to women's careers as a result of AI really taking its place, in our lives. And one of the fears is that women, because of the fact that many of them, pursue lower order skill jobs, you know, they are likely to get replaced by artificial intelligence. I know that you are right in the middle of a lot of innovation that's happening in this space. So, what are your thoughts, Sheenam, on this? And what do you think? What would your advice be to women?
So, um, what we're seeing of AI is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So, if anybody tells you your job is going to be taken away or your job is not going to be taken away, I don't think they know. So, that's one part of the situation. My views is that your job is going to become far more value oriented than what it is today. Um, AI and the entire concept of open AI, more than AI, is going to have the ability to do a lot of things at the beset of a command. So the most important thing tomorrow, okay, in the immediate future, is the command that you give it. Go out and experiment, right? All of you, I'm sure, have Chat GPT. Throw a question to Chat GPT. Throw the same question in different words. Throw the same question yet again in different words, and you'll get different answers. And as the quality of your question becomes far more specific and far more better, so will the output of that tool be, right? So it now needs somebody who has the empathy with the client to understand the client requirement, who has the knowledge of the domain and the ability to translate all of that to a prompt that the technology can understand. And there's no better than women who can do that, right? A woman can understand what a child wants, a woman can understand what an old person wants. We understand personas. Okay. I want you to think about what is it that you have as strengths and how can you leverage your personal strengths to be professionally far stronger than what you are today and what your peers are today. And I think AI will give you just that opportunity.
Fabulous. That was very positive, and and at the same time, I
I
think I
believe in it.
really,
I believe in it.
yeah, yeah, I love the fact that you said that we don't know, the full
Yeah, we
extent of
don't know
what's
yet.
going to happen. I mean, one can say that your job will be secure. One can say your job will go away, and both will be right. So I think that's very this one. So if you were to look at you know understanding and leveraging artificial intelligence to be something that women are likely to be good at, how do you think that will kind of play out in the case of women who take breaks in career? Do you think with the advent of AI, a woman returning from a career break is likely to find, opportunities or avenues far easier than in the days when AI wasn't prevalent? Do you think that has any kind of a impact on the career breaks that women take?
So I think in general, the world is progressing towards getting more women into the workplace
Yep.
because there's a business case attached to it, right? Um, Women who return from career breaks are going to be far more loyal. So hiring them makes a lot of sense. But what's going to help you is none of that. What's going to help you is your learnability and your adaptability to change. Because we saw blockchain and we saw it took 10 years for blockchain to kind of become a reality in the tech world. AI is not going to be a 10-year phenomenon before it kind of stabilizes. It's going to be a 2-year phenomenon, maybe a three. Open AI is going to be a 3-year phenomenon before it becomes mainstream, and then we are ready for something else. Which means our change curve adaptability is shortening, right? So during your break, what are you doing to make yourself relevant, to keep yourself relevant is going to be that much more important. Are you taking courses? Are you reading books? Are you doing something online? How much of investment are you doing in yourself is going to help you get back. But are women going to be taken into the workplace? Yes. I mean, I am looking for women talent and not finding enough. So, come, there is going to be ample demand in the tech space. How soon can you do that and learn is, I think, that is going to be the most key important thing there.
Sheenam, you mentioned about the business case for diversity and for
Yes.
having more women in the workplace. And it's a very well known fact that under your leadership, Broadridge is a, um, is a role model organization when it comes to best practices in diversity, equity, and inclusion. But when you say, there is a business case for diversity, in a lot of cases, there is this confusion, or I would even call it angst, on the part of men that this business case for gender inclusion, where women, are focused upon, seems to exclude the men. So, as a leader of an organization, as the person that really drives culture, throughout your enterprise, how do you address this challenge in practical terms, Sheena?
So, see, what is the business case for diversity? You're wearing a pair of glasses, which is a particular shape. I have a pair of glasses, which is a different shape, right? Now, the case for diversity is that men need glasses of a particular shape, but women need diverse shapes. They need colors. They need possibly the golden edges and stuff like that. Now, if somebody who's making these glasses and designing these glasses does not have a man and a woman there, they are not catering to their customer base, right? Women need glasses, men need glasses, kids need glasses. We need to have personas that know what men, women, and those children and any other community need from their glasses, right? So, how do you bring that diversity into your workplace so that you have the empathy for the kind of customer base that you want to serve to? That's the business case for diversity. That does not mean I will have only women in my organization. I have to have the men, I have to have the women, I have to have special talents, I have to have people from the PWD space. I have to have everybody there that represents a subsection of my customer base. That's the business case for diversity.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. But today there is this pushback that's being seen. And women are being referred to as diversity candidates. And
Yes.
there is that very irksome manner of looking at women and seeing a diversity tag on their foreheads and not the talent or the merit that they bring. Now, is this something that women should be concerned about? Is this a problem that organizations should worry about? How do you handle this pushback against DEI, Shinam?
Dr. Saundarya, you run a business. Would you hire a woman just because she was a woman?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't, right? Neither would I. I need people around me who will make me successful. Because if any one person of those 5,400 people is not the right talent, I am not going to be able to deliver the results that I promised to my organization that I will not, right? If I can ensure that my organization sees meritocracy in the hiring process, in the retention process, in the promotion process, I think I would have made my case. And that's exactly what I try to do. I try and get the right talent. I want to ensure that my TA team, my talent acquisition teams, brings women profiles to the table because it's far more difficult to bring women profiles to the table. But I am not here sitting and saying I will only hire women. I will hire the best candidate available for the role. Yes, if there are two best candidates, then I would possibly hire the woman. I'm biased. I admit that I'm biased, but not if the woman had one quality less than the man, then the man will get hired. I'm very clear about that. I have to be successful, right? So I used to have a feeling that, I would never apply for a role that was meant for diversity. About 4, 5 years back, actually, about 6 years back, I said, if they want to hire a woman and they like me and I fit and I like the job, I'll go. Okay. They want to do diversity hiring, it's okay. But I think to all the men there, you're not going to hire a woman because you need to fill a percentage, because you need to deliver. Similarly, a woman is not going to hire a woman if she needs to fill a percentage. Remember that, right? So get rid of these biases. Remember, you will have a daughter tomorrow or a niece tomorrow that will need a job. Okay, so be a sponsor, be a male ally, and not be a person who says, oh, she's getting hired because she's a woman.
Fabulously well said, Shinam. Thank you so much. I think we couldn't have put it better. That was brilliant. I think we are reaching the end of this amazing conversation, and I just wish we had 10 more hours to talk to you, Shinam. The kind of insights and the amazing sharing and the effortless ease with which you're, tackling some of the most pesky issues surrounding women's careers and diversity and meritocracy. It's just beautiful to, engage with you. I'm now moving on to the section where we ask you the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So we have some questions, and I'm just going to ask you um, if you weren't in tech, which field do you think you'd have gotten into?
That's
Teaching? Would you be teaching math, or would you be,
I'm a good teacher. I'm a good teacher, but I'm not sure if I have the uh, patience for it. There's just too much energy. So maybe some kind of a research, some kind of
research?
innovation,
Okay.
that kind. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Oh, lovely, lovely.
yeah.
Your favorite hobby?
I love to grow flowers. I love color around me. I'm also a voracious reader. I read both fiction and nonfiction. Love to travel. Oceans, water is very calming.
Fabulous. Fantastic. Your most favorite memory from your childhood?
It's actually going to the beach. We used to be in Ambernath, which was a very small town in the district of Thane. And once a month, we used to drive down to Chapati. That Saturday or Sunday was something that I used to absolutely look forward to. Going to the water, playing with water, the street food after that. Just the fact that, I could be with water is something that just gives me immense happiness. So that's my favorite memory.
Beautifully, you described that. That was fantastic. Uh, an everyday habit of yours that kind of keeps you going, that gives you this energy.
To get up and get dressed and come to work. I am at a workplace every day. I think what gives me the energy is that there is so much to do and I haven't done it yet. So, just fighting with the time available and the things to do is something that just motivates me every day. So that's, I think, enough. I do spend 15, 20 minutes just with myself at the end of the day. I ensure that that's just my time. I may be listening to a song, I may be reading a book, I may be just playing a game, but that is my time with myself. 15 minutes generally is something that I do before sleeping.
Wonderful. Last question in the rapid fire. One thing that people may be surprised to know about you.
I have a personal goal to lose weight every year. I usually don't make it happen.
Oh, that's very cute. Let me say that you look gorgeous. So probably it's for all the right reasons that you're not losing that weight.
I'm a Punjabi and I'm a foodie, so losing weight is very difficult.
Totally, totally. Wonderful,
Yeah.
Sheenam. That was simply awesome having this conversation with you. Thank you for sharing some incredible ideas and thoughts. I'm absolutely certain everybody, who was listening to this podcast today are going to take away some deep thoughts and some very simple implementable points. Thank you so much for being with us here
Thank
today,
you.
Shinam.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you for having me here. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my dear viewers. Hope you enjoyed this conversation that we had with today's career doctor, Sheenam Ohrie, Managing Director, Broadridge Financial, a fintech company with its global headquarters in New York. And she just blew our mind in terms of the kind of answers that she gave us. And I hope that each of you is taking back something amazing from this conversation, and you will build a fortified career filled with discovery and delight. Thank you so much, everyone.